Hello.
Yeah, that's your name.
Squirrels got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think that of it, because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass, and I see these deer moving, and I'm like, ooh, there's some deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
when you're
the
275 pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You know.
He's like,
he's up there slapping it, pissing all over everything.
Is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
I know.
How did you say his name?
Hervé Villechaize.
You know what Pertnear means.
If you know what Pertnear means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pertnear Outdoors. It's that time of year. It's that time of year where we all need to be thinking about, do we have everything we need to hit the woods? Chances are you don't, and if you think you do, you probably could use some more. So how about you go over to thehuntworks.com and check out all the incredible products these guys are carrying. This is a great family, local store. Dan and Steve Dunnigan, a couple hardworking sumbitches. They are now carrying archery equipment, everything from bows to arrows to broadheads, quivers, you name it. So on top of all the great tree stands and box blinds that they're carrying, they're now a full-on archery dealer, and really recommend that you check these guys out for your next big purchase. Head over to thehuntworks.com to see what they've got for sale, or if you're local in the Rochester area, head on over to their store in East Rochester on Dispatch Drive and check them out. They are on social media, The Huntworks, and also online, like I said. And if you purchase anything online, you can use promo code FEEDIN'Em to get 5% off, and that's FEED, FEEDIN, INUM, 5% off. Feed 'em.
Hey, this is episode 216 of the Pertnear Outdoors podcast. Tonight we are guest hosting this episode from the Lucas Camp, referred to as Lucas Lodge, down the southern tier. We got a different crew. This is Don Lucas tonight. We got my brother Ethan and a good friend Matt Brown with us. We do a spring trip. We call it Trout Camp or Fish Camp.
Trout Trip.
Trout Trip, yep. So it's kind of a new tradition, but we opted to jump on the gear tonight from camp and do a podcast ourselves, see how it goes, and help out the Pertnear boys. They had a pretty busy weekend chasing turkeys, so they're tied up doing that and getting ready for a logging crew.
Any word on success with the turkeys? Anybody?
Jim got a turkey.
Did he?
Yeah.
Harvey?
Yeah, Jim Harvey. He got a turkey the other day, I think opening day.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's busy at a wedding or something this weekend, but picking up his new side-by-side. It's the minivan of side-by-sides. Don't tell him I said that. But, yeah, he picked that up. It's pretty sweet.
He was talking about it at Shed Fest.
Yes. Yeah. So this weekend we came down. It was pretty wet and rainy. We started fishing Friday. My days are all messed up with taking Friday off, but came down Friday midday, fished a little bit on the Cohocton River. The last few years we've tried to get out and do a little trout fishing in the early season here and take advantage of the river being right at the bottom of our hill. We're not much for turkey hunters, and trout seem fun to chase, so we did that. And I'll let Ethan tell a little bit. This is kind of Ethan's show. He came up with the idea because he sucks at deer hunting.
He's not wrong. I'm a very casual and poor hunter.
Fair weather hunter.
Yeah. Now that I've learned that I can hunt and walk at the same time, it's changing the game, but I do get bored and cold very easily in a tree stand, so I've learned to love the ground. But yeah, Donnie and I have talked about this trip for probably 20 years. We've said we want to get down here and take advantage of the Cohocton River. Have not. We went fly fishing one time with a guide. I hooked my chin. There was a tornado. It was a big thing. Not a whole lot of luck there. But
Tell that story. No, that's a good start because Dad got involved in that. It was a whole thing.
so we were, my dad and one of his friends with the police department decided to hire a guide that was going to come teach all of us. There was 5 of us, me, Don, my dad, Don, and then his friend and his son, take us around the Cohocton River, teach us how to fly fish. Like I said, no success. I pulled funny when I was trying to retrieve my fly, buried it in my chin, and actually it was at the same exact place that we've had much success the past 2 years fishing now.
Both our lunkers last 2 years.
And so I got this fly stuck in my chin, and the guide is like,
right where you want it. I mean, it was a great hook set.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And so the guide was like, I've seen guys wrap monofilament line around that and just kind of jerk it out before, like on their arms and legs, but I've never seen it done to somebody's face before. So if I had to recommend anything, take them down to Noise, which is the hospital in Dansville, get them some Novocaine, and they'll figure it out. And my dad literally turns around and is like, I'm not waiting 3 hours in some fucking emergency room. And grabs the hook and
That doesn't surprise me.
he grabs the hook and just rips it out of my face. All in all, it was fine. I mean, it hurt like a motherfucker for a second. It bled like a second. But all in all, worked out. And then it started.
Your emotional scarring is far worse than your physical scarring.
Yeah, well, that's true for the entirety of my life.
Kid'll never pick up a fly rod ever again.
No, I will not fly fish under any circumstances. But yeah, then it started to thunderstorm. We ran to the van we were in and like, okay, we're just going to wait out the rain. And we watched a funnel cloud come down in the cornfield in front of us. And we're like, holy shit, we're going to get hit with a tornado. Luckily, it never touched the ground and went back up. And the skies cleared and we finished our day with like a shitty day of fly fishing.
Yeah.
That was the question. Did you catch any fish?
Nobody
One
caught.
fish. Dad caught a fish.
Dad caught a fish.
Kind of in that hole we were in today, but he hiked back to a bend up by 390 there.
Yep.
Okay.
And he caught one on a nymph. And I don't think my dad's ever dry fly fished.
Oh, really?
Ever since, because he caught one fish one time on a wet fly. So that became like his focus.
Yeah.
But that was kind of cool. I mean, we hired it. The guy's name was Gary Coleman out of, I think, Brockport. He had a fly shop and a guide service up there. But it was cool. I mean, I dabbled with trout fishing before that, but really not much. That was kind of our introduction to it. It was cool. He brought all the gear, the waders, the fly rods, all the equipment, brought it out and kind of taught us to fly cast in a hayfield, and then we went to the river and fished for an afternoon. It was a good time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good way to learn. And I mean, with it, we've been able to translate that into teaching a bunch of people about trout fishing and getting out on Cohocton.
Yeah.
I mean, like you, Matt, and Reagan last year. Last year was the first year we did this trip.
Yeah, and sail last year.
Sail, yeah.
Never caught a trout before, hit the lunker.
Yep.
But no, this trip is something we've talked about for years, and as I've gotten progressively worse at hunting as I age, I was like, let's do it. Let's go fishing, because with where we're located in technically Kenona, New York.
Yeah, Kenona. Yeah.
We have proximity to the Cohocton River, the Naples Creek, the south end of Keuka Lake, south end of Canandaigua Lake.
Yep.
So let's do it. Let's just do a weekend that we fish. And last year it worked out well enough that I got to camp first. Donnie started to fish the holes on the way up, basically texted us and was like, I'm up to my eyeballs in fish. We never got off the river.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I still want to get to Keuka at some point and see if we can fill a bucket of panfish.
Yeah.
But the past 2 years, we had plenty of luck on the river. This year was a little bit of tough sledding with the rain.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this afternoon we watched the water rise at our last stop and got
Yeah.
to a point that we're like, we're done, we're toast. But all 3 of us this week
Caught nice fish.
landed a keeper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Matt-
despite the weather, it was still a great weekend.
We're eating trout dip.
We're eating trout dip?
We're eating
Right.
trout dip.
Yeah.
Had trout last night. Nothing like a 1 a.m. fish off the grill.
Yeah, I mean, 1 a.m. Yeah, so, and I'll jump in to say, so Matt Brown, great friend, Caught his first keeper yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We kept it. Donnie had to go home because he has family obligations and children, which I'm sure many of our listeners can relate. But like the childless life is the life. So Matt and I are sitting on the deck, probably 12:30, bottle of bourbon deep, handful of beers, smoking cigars, and he says to me, "I've never caught and kept a fish before."
Oh, first one.
And I was like, "Oh, well, we're eating it. We're eating it tonight then, because
Gotta do it.
Well, yeah, the other thing is that I've primarily done bass fishing like my entire life. So
a loser." So
well, yeah, I mean, when your family has a cottage on Canisius Lake, like
you
bass fishing,
you
is
catch
what
pike and walleye and you keep them.
Oh, you could, yeah.
So I went, and I don't have any of my normal fixings. Usually I take the whole fish that's gutted out, stuff it with some garlic, chives, lemon, butter, salt, pepper, wrap it in foil, put it on the grill. Well, I was not prepared this year because I'm just terrible. I've had a terrible year. I didn't even bring my mud boots.
Yeah, Ethan's fishing. We got water 6 inches above the banks. Ethan says, "Well, at least I brought my Crocs."
Love the Crocs. Love the Crocs.
Did the job.
So we doused the thing in Montreal steak seasoning.
Yep.
We stuffed it with some butter and
Some Italian seasoning. Yep.
And when Don left, he took the other two fish, the other two keepers, and we had no plastic bags to transport this fish. So it got transported back to camp in a Dr. Pepper box.
I had an empty Dr. Pepper box in my car.
So
that's what we had.
The fish's name became Dr. Pepper, and in lieu of all the seasonings and everything we added, we poured a fair amount of Dr. Pepper into that foil pouch.
We had to.
Cooked it on the charcoal, opened it up, peeled the skin back. First bite of a fish caught by Matt Brown and eaten by Matt Brown was the trout cheek.
Yep. Yeah.
Which he very much enjoyed.
It was great, yeah.
I ate an eyeball. I don't recommend it. It tastes just like trout. Got a weird-ass texture.
So as weird as the eyeball is, the cheek is kind of a fascinating thing for anybody who's not a fisherman or especially like salmonoid type fish, trout and salmon. I think perch and walleye also have cheek meat.
Correct.
But there's like a little nugget of meat in the gill flap that would be the cheek of a fish.
Between the gill plate and the eyeball.
Yeah, and it's considered to be like one of the best pieces of fish on the fish. And you have to have a fish big enough to get a piece of meat off of there, but it's pretty cool when you can keep a fish, same day, maybe 10 hours, caught it in a river a mile or two away and put it on the grill. So that it's kind of neat, a good way to start.
And I mean, to bring things back to myself, which is
you're good at.
Yeah, it's where the spotlight should be.
Yeah.
So we went to our first spot, which is where we had all of our luck last year, which is also the same place I sunk the hook into my chin when I was a wee child. And the water was high because it's been raining like crazy the past few weeks. And Donnie caught the lunker there at the turn of the river.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled, got a bunch of strikes, couldn't hook up. The water was moving too fast for me to get a spoon to the depth that I wanted it to be.
Your spoon, you did a little baby
Yeah, but then I put the
there.
bigger on. I went to the Swedish pimple, and I still couldn't get it down because it was bigger, and the action wanted to
bring it up.
Bring it up. That's what she said. So we struggled there, and then we moved to a second location.
You guys struggled.
Actually,
it was just you that struggled.
Yeah, it was just me that struggled. Matt caught 1,000 fish that were 4 inches long.
Yeah, I'm good for a whole lot of nothing, basically.
So we moved to our second location, and on the way we get a weather advisory to expect 60-mile-per-hour winds, thunderstorms, hail. Expect home damage, and if you're on the road, expect vehicle damage. So luckily, our second spot was under a bridge. So we're like, let's hang out under this bridge. We'll light up a cigar, we'll drink beer, and we'll fish. So the first thing I did was, I'm going to fish. I'm not getting skunked this weekend.
I don't think anybody else had even casted yet.
No, I was the first one to cast.
Yeah.
My first throw landed directly onto the face of an eater trout. I didn't even bring in the slack in my line when I got pulled away and was like, holy shit, I'm on a fish.
That's fish.
Yeah.
Like, not even a single turn of the reel. So
it was perfect. It doesn't get any better than that.
Really doesn't.
got it in. Not as big as Donnie's, but a perfect eater.
You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah. I don't even know how to come back from that.
That was a nice fish. I mean,
It was a
to
great
add a
fish.
second fish to the day was nice. You know, we had
Yeah.
caught a bunch of smaller fish and things, and you know, there's kind of a defining line in there of like, is it a keeper? Is it not? When it is, you know.
Mhm.
You know, the regulation is you can keep 3 fish, only one over 12 inches, but you kind of wait to get that one nice fish, and these were perfect. So to put 2 in was nice. And then we kind of all looked at Matt like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
turn.
give us
put
something
one on
longer
the-
than 3 inches.
Yeah.
says
No
his,
promises
says his
there.
fiance.
Yeah. So it was good. I mean, that spot worked well. It poured rain.
Yeah.
We never did get the hail. We didn't get the brutal wind, but we
It's a
were
great
We didn't get
spot.
wet either.
we didn't get wet. We were under the bridge. Like you said, little smoke, couple drinks. You know, and that's we talk about why do a spring fish camp, right? Like what's different? But we've been doing deer camp since we were, 14, coming down for opening weekend. That's a huge tradition in our family to come down here to camp. And, hunting is just different than fishing. It's a little more work. It's a little more serious. You get up early. You get out there. You sit in a stand. With fishing, it's more laid back. You fish for a while. You get a couple bites. You've had a good day. You can kick back, have a beer. Get back after it if you want. Even if you only catch 1 or 2 fish, you've still had a pretty good day.
I had caught 1 fish this entire weekend and had a great weekend.
Yeah, and it's just different. It's a little more laid back. So we said, the weather's different. This weekend was a little chilly, 40s, 50s degrees, but like last year was 70 and sunny. Friday was 70 and sunny. It just has a little different feel to it. So we've enjoyed that. But yeah, stand there under the bridge. You're like, look, it doesn't matter if we fish or if we just sit here and empty the cooler. We're at the bottom of the hill. We go up to camp tonight, and it's an easy one. So that was good. And then Matt, you caught yours like right before we left.
Yeah.
Right before you left.
Yeah.
You
guys
had
stuck
already
around.
brought some stuff back to the truck, and then I hooked into mine. And
Don had to leave last night because he has kids.
Yeah.
Matt and
Matt
and I do not have children, so we were able to take advantage of a night at camp and enjoy some libations and cigars and
1 a.m. trout.
And a 1 a.m. trout.
Late night snack.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I think that makes Matt the 3rd person we've introduced to catching, cleaning, cooking a fish.
Yep.
Which, again, is something Ethan and I were kind of spoiled with. We were talking last night about just we were sort of spoiled growing up with access to that, fishing freshwater, saltwater, being able to catch and clean and cook fish pretty routinely. So it's been fun. I mean, Sale last year, he had never done much fishing.
Well, he's fished. He was never a trout fisherman, and I could stand corrected on that if he ever listens, but all the conversations I've ever had with him, we've never talked about fishing trout until we got here for trout trip.
Yeah, I think that's true because he was pretty blown away with that trout he caught last. That was a nice brown trout.
It was a great brown trout.
Yeah. And he was pretty blown away with that. So he's bummed out. Poor Sal. We got to pour out a drink for Sal.
Oh yeah,
with
Sal.
his cheerleader girlfriend this
Poor
weekend.
guy.
Poor
Yeah,
Sal.
driving up from Miami with his professional cheerleader girlfriend.
Yeah, poor guy. He wishes he was here. He really does.
He said he won't miss it again.
Yeah, unless another trip to the beach comes up.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Yeah. No, but it's been a good trip. We're glad to do it and get out in the spring, do something a little different. We all fall and winter we're so focused on hunting and everything that comes with that. So it's a good shift. We did get to see Matt this winter. We did a nice trip on Canisius Lake, and Matt's got a nice spot on the north end of Canisius Lake there. So we were able to get off the ice and hang out and catch up a little bit at his place. It was good.
That was a lot of fun. Maybe turn it into a winter
Absolutely.
ice fishing trip.
Absolutely. We're all pretty local, which is nice.
Yeah, if we could count on ice every year,
that's the big issue.
You could do it, but we went 5 years with no ice. So,
but like we've said before, if there's no ice, we just pick a weekend to go and drink and hang out.
Yeah.
It's not a bad weekend either.
No, yeah, and then we all pitch in for each other's subsequent divorces.
Yeah, we now officially have one full weekend away of every season of the year. It checks out for me.
Yeah, every 4 months.
Every 4 months, we got
every 3 months. Every 3 months.
Well, my wife would tell you when we met, she was like, "Okay, so when is deer season?" I'm like, well, deer season starts, officially with bow season in October 1st. Bow season starts, and then I'll hunt until November when rifle season opens, and then you get into December, you got late season. Okay, and then it's over. It's like, well, no, because then we trap for a few weeks, and then ice fishing starts. Oh, okay. So when does ice fishing run? Well, the good news, ice fishing, that's only from whenever ice starts to whenever ice melts. But then the good news is as soon as the ice melts, usually March, we start looking at April 1st when it's trout season. And then May 1st turns into turkey season. And then you get into the summer months, and, there's really, bass fishing in June, and, July and August, you're kind of getting your bow ready and trimming trees and doing tree stand maintenance. So there's like a 2-week window in September that maybe I'm not busy.
Yeah.
But, it took a while for that reality to set in, or, now Leslie will sit there and say, oh, April 1st. Something opens today, doesn't it? It's like, yep.
Damn right it does.
Yep. Good job. You're learning.
Well, the thing is, and like I said earlier today, April 1st trout fishing is the worst.
Oh, everybody.
I've never actually been.
And I made
that
it.
early.
I made it a point when we finally wanted to put this trip in stone to say, let's go first weekend in May. That gives us 6 months between, give or take, between trout trip and opening week of gun.
Yeah.
So every 6 months, we get to come to camp, we get to hang out, and what I like about the first weekend of May is it's early enough that you don't have the grass and the weeds growing in the creeks and rivers, which is something Donnie and I struggled in our youth with the Watka Creek trying to fish trout through the summer.
Oh, yeah.
But you sidestep all the April trout fishermen who are the worst, and they're everywhere, and
it's busy. I mean, you see like the foot traffic at some of these spots we've been fishing the last couple of days. You can see where they've just been heavily trafficked.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, under the bridge where we caught our fish yesterday, how much trout blood was on the ground. I mean,
yeah, guys are in there pulling. Trout fishing, especially in New York, is kind of funny. It's very much a put and take situation. So for anybody that's listening that isn't a trout fisherman, DEC stocks a ton of brown and brook trout in New York State every year. All the main trout streams, your Watka Creek, your Cohocton River, Naples Creek, are heavily stocked. And the idea is to leave some native population to reproduce and keep, wild trout. But it's really not an ideal fishery. And the waters get so flashy with high water and low water that it's not a great sustainable habitat for trout like some of the limestone creeks and rivers in Pennsylvania and the Adirondacks. So it becomes a lot of put and take. In New York, it's intended to be that they're going to put these trout in the water, they're going to stock them, and within a year, they're getting fished out. That's why your limit's 3 fish a day, with only one being over 12. They really want to encourage you that if you want to take fish, take fish.
for sure. And I'm glad, and it has not even been discussed amongst the 3 of us that have been here, but like the only 3 fish we kept this week, we each kept 1 over 12.
Yeah.
Which for me, I love because let them grow.
Right.
We caught a handful of dinks.
Yeah.
We could have brought them back. We could have thrown them on the grill. They would have been delicious. I could have taken them home, thrown them on the smoker for that smoked trout.
Yeah.
But, like, take the mature ones out, leave the young ones in, see what they do.
Yeah, there's no need to
year.
fill
I
a
mean,
bag every year or every day. Yeah.
We have a native population, which is very small. But at some point, if we're going to keep stocking every spring, let the fish take, if you will.
Yeah, and that's the idea. So it's cool to fish for them, get in there kind of early, that April 1st after stocking. I mean, people are in there so heavy. like Naples Creek, especially. We stopped in at Sutton Spoons today around lunchtime in the rain, and we talked to the woman in there, and she was saying that that early April, they saw a ton of fishermen through there, getting their lures and things. But now the water's come up, it flushes a lot of those trout into Canandaigua Lake. Things kind of quiet down in Naples. So for us, the Cohocton's been good to us the last few years.
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah.
The fish have been there steady. We've found some really good spots that we like, and that was a big part of doing it. With fishing, like a lot of things with the outdoors, if you're not actively doing it, you lose that knack for it, for finding the fish, for reading the water. Today Matt and I are standing there, we're looking at the water, and as it was rising and coming up with all this rain, that it's moving so fast that you can hardly keep a lure in it, but you could sort of read and see the seams and where the fast water is versus the slack water, and that's where we're catching fish. So it's that kind of recognition and learning the water, learning the river and how it flows that has been cool. And for me, especially, Ethan jokes about the kids, but that's a lot of it. Is the day's going to come where, they want to tag along and they want to go and fish. And there's nothing worse than saying, yeah, let's go, but I don't have my stuff. I haven't fished in years, or I don't know a good spot.
That sounds like me this weekend.
Yeah, you were struggling.
My boots are in the car.
Oh.
My boots were not in the car.
Yeah.
I brought 3 hoodies. I brought 1 hoodie. Packing this was a struggle because there's a lot of things I expected to be in places that they always are and weren't. And that's what I get for
who's to blame for that?
That's what I get for cleaning out my car.
Yeah, keep it filthy.
Yeah, no, instead of a clean car, a car full of shit, it's all going to be there.
You've always got your shit.
Right, exactly.
I've always got my shit.
You always got your shit.
That's right.
Yeah, no, and that's why I was walking through ankle-deep water in Crocs, and I don't recommend that to anybody.
Or waiting in the truck.
Or sitting in the
or
truck.
waiting in the truck because it's pouring, and the only way you get close to the river is to be knee-deep in water.
There's a lot of water this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of
water.
Yeah, and it's still coming down right now.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
We were saying today that it was one thing to rain all night, but then it just kept raining all day. That water kept getting
when we
deeper
returned
and
to that
deeper.
spot under the bridge, we were there an hour.
Yep.
And the water probably came up 3-4 inches.
Yeah, just the time we were there.
And it was filled with shit because as it rises, we're getting
all the flood debris,
all the logs
sticks,
and the sticks. So it got really hard to fish.
Got real murky.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was like chocolate milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tough day today. Yesterday was great. We found a lot of fish. I figured, I was trying to think. I didn't keep track of every fish, but I probably 12 fish yesterday.
Yeah.
Pretty
I had
good.
1. Kept
It's
track
easy.
of them all.
Yeah,
a good one.
You keep it small. It's easy. Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, like I said, when I say I cast it, I didn't even cast it into its mouth, right onto its face. I had 2 hooks in its nose.
Yep.
Great fish,
Landed
though.
right on it.
It was a good fish.
Great dip.
Made great dip.
Made great dip.
Yeah.
Made great dip tonight. Little bit of cream cheese, mayo, olive oil, green onion.
Cooked it on the grill.
Yeah, cooked the trout on the grill, flaked the flesh off, minced it up a bit. Great dip.
Next year we're doing a shore lunch.
I'll do a
We
shore
gotta
lunch.
do it. A little campfire right on the shore. Cook up a couple.
Well, I mean,
fish.
all the signs at the public access fishing places say that's illegal, but
Oh, that's all right. We'll be at private access fishing places, maybe.
I didn't see
For
DEC
sure.
today. Did not see DEC
Not today.
today.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not listening. I did hear that most of the DEC, game wardens
Our big
listen to
Pertnear guys, yeah.
Outdoor podcast.
yeah.
Yep, I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They love to hear about the Pennsylvania hunts.
Yeah, they
State
would.
DEC.
Hey, Pennsylvania's tough. We gotta get a parking ticket this year in Pennsylvania. You don't want to mess around down there.
Cracking down.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to switch sides after 6 p.m.
He's
So
blocking a gate. Oh. No, the other nice thing with the Cohocton is the amount of public access. I got to tell this story just because it was kind of a cool way to start the day yesterday. But I pulled up on I was looking for a different spot, so I pulled down a side street, and it was this little area over in Cohocton. I ended up meeting a property owner over there. It's all private. There's no public access. And talking to him, and he was asking, are you from the area? No, but my wife is from the southern tier and grew up around here, so we kind of traded names and things. And it turned out that he knew my wife's great uncle who lived in Cohocton. So that was pretty cool. It was kind of a connecting moment, right? Where he was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we know the same people," and the conversation went from no, I don't let anybody fish because I had problems with people leaving trash all over, and there's some public access down the road, to you're welcome to fish here anytime, park in the driveway, just say hello, we'd be happy to see you. So that was cool. A new spot. There weren't any fish there. I mean, take that for what it's worth, but it was a beautiful little spot to fish, and met somebody new, and that's always cool. So we did that, and he did give me, as I was getting ready to leave, he said, "Oh, check out, this other spot," and kind of led me to a spot that he fishes, and lucked out. I put 3 fish on the bank there, so that was cool. It was a spot I had never fished before under an old train bridge, and just got to experience something different. So it was worthwhile. I was glad I pulled over and talked to him while he was out in the yard.
Yeah, and like you were saying, the amount of public fishing access down here, like, I've fished Owaka Creek growing up, and there's a couple spots, but it's like, you're so close to Rochester that you get pretty much any spot you go to, you got someone else there.
Yep.
And down here, we didn't, a single spot we went to, we didn't have another person
No,
there.
we never had to share a spot.
Yeah.
Even last year, you guys had the one guy last year that walked up that lost his handgun. But
Well, he thought he lost his handgun, but he wasn't really sure where it was to begin with.
Yeah.
But he wasn't fishing. He just wanted
True,
to talk.
He just wanted to talk about fishing, yeah.
Yeah, we really haven't run into.
No.
And there's sign that there's fishermen around, but like we haven't. You never pull into a spot and think, "Oh, great, we're the third truck."
Right.
Well, like tonight today we were bouncing around, and there was that little blue car.
Mm-hmm.
That we made the jokes that he was just sitting there hotboxing because we didn't see anybody fishing. But a little bit later, I saw same car at another spot down the street. So like he was bouncing around fishing, but we never crossed paths.
No.
We did see that one guy last year. He was leaving the spot
by the railroad bridge.
Yes, were you guys there at the same time? Yeah, you were there when he was there. He was a good guy.
Actually, I might not have been there.
Yeah, you came a little later.
Yep.
But
yeah, you suck.
He was getting ready to leave. He was getting ready to leave as we pulled in. He had caught some fish and was taking off.
Yeah, I remember. And just a flashback to Matt talking about Owaka Creek is where Don and I really cut our teeth trout fishing.
Yeah.
Was public access on Owaka and Mumford.
Yep.
And that's where I learned 2 very important lessons. 1, casting light tackle and spoons is going to be 1,000% more effective than fly fishing. 2,
guaranteed. Take that to the bank.
Yeah, we used to go and Donnie would fly fish and watch me catch fish and then be like, man, why didn't I catch anything?
And you hook your chin less.
You hook your chin less, yeah. Although I will say we got a little nervous this weekend with some bush hookups that we ripped some spoons out of some bushes that almost ate us.
Yeah.
But also Owaka Creek is where we learned by June you got weeds.
Yeah.
And you're catching nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Water gets shallow and the grass grows up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's different. Stream fishing's different for sure. It's you gotta find the holes, find the water, chase it down. But again, you got to be out there to do it, and that's how we got started with this. Was just find the time to go and explore and check out the river. I didn't do as much walking as I kind of thought I would, but we
lost you today. I don't know where you went.
Oh, you didn't lose. I was on a mowed path.
Oh yeah, like a mile downstream.
Yeah, he was gone.
Yeah,
gone.
Literally, I went to Matt
because he got wet in the rain.
He was sitting in the truck. That's why he didn't find
I went
you.
to Matt and I'm like, "Where's Don?" And he's like, "I don't know. I think he walked downstream a little bit." And not 20 minutes later, Matt comes up to me and goes, "Dude, I have no clue where your brother is."
He's gone.
But he left his keys. We were gonna head back to the bridge and just let Donnie meet us downstream when he made it there in 3 days.
I'd have made it home. Got cell reception all over the place. You never lost if you got cell reception.
No, down here's fine. Yeah. It's gotten much better.
Yeah.
Last year I couldn't even call Sale to help him get up the hill.
Oh, that's right.
I called you to get up when I was coming up the hill, and our call dropped, so then I called Sal.
Yep. Well, and this year you called me for instructions and then didn't listen to them. So
I did listen to them.
Yeah, turn right after the dump truck.
I forgot about the dump truck.
You forgot about the dump truck.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
and you ended up in some guy's lot.
No, I didn't. I pulled about halfway in. I said, this isn't right. And then I backed out and I kept going.
And then said, oh, God, there's a dump truck.
It's a hard place to find.
It is. It's
a tough
tucked
place to
away.
find, yeah. Even people say, oh, drop a pin or, send the address. But the address gets you, I think it's about a mile shy of where we're at.
Yeah.
Well, I always laugh because in our group chat and stuff, I defer to you, Don, to give them the address.
Yep.
Like, I don't know the address of this place. I just know how to get here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it is. It's once you come up, and like you said, Matt, you pull in and you go, this isn't right.
Yeah, right.
You didn't know necessarily where you were, but you knew it wasn't where you wanted to be.
Yep.
Yeah, a little history on our place here. So we're tucked away on a hill in Bath. Our Ethan and I's grandparents bought the property, a portion of the property back in 1984, I believe. They were looking for a woodlot. My grandfather was a big hunter. He really wasn't much of a fisherman, but loved the outdoors and hunting turkey and deer. And they heated their homes, my dad and my grandparents, primarily with wood. So they were looking for a woodlot, and they found this, what was a 10-acre parcel down here in Bath.
I didn't know it
Corona.
only started at 10 acres.
Yeah, and I think they may have bought two at the same time because they knew they wanted a little bit more. So they bought two parcels and really didn't have any big ambitions with it. It was just going to be a place to come in the summer, split firewood, take it home, friends and family, come and take firewood if they needed it. And as time went on, it evolved into, they had a camper here, and my grandfather said, I want to build a cabin. So him and my grandmother set out to design a cabin that they wanted.
Not to interject, but I'm going to. We're brothers, and I'm allowed. But to my recollection, the night they decided, let's build a camp up there, Pap, our grandfather, who we refer to as Pap, drew out the plans of what he wanted on a napkin.
Yeah.
And that was the blueprint for what they ended up building.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they did. They just set out to build it, and the attitude was they wanted to build it as you would build a home, right? So it didn't start as a hunting camp so much as a plan for a home. So they dug a pit for the foundation, and has a crawl space basement underneath it and everything, and started building it out. Well, then my dad and uncles and all sorts of family were involved in getting it built and set up and dried in. And over the years, they started to finish it off. But in 1990, we lost my grandfather to leukemia. And the dream was that him and my grandmother were going to retire here. They wanted to have this place to retire to and be their own in the mountains. And my grandmother didn't want to let that go, so she finished the camp. She came in and really made it a home. Septic tank, well, finished it off. I mean, we joke we have a deer camp with a laundry room and a full bathroom and a dishwasher in the kitchen. Right? It's not exactly roughing it, but it's our camp, and you sure are thankful on weekends like this where we're out in the rain. It's 40 degrees. You have somewhere warm. We came back, started a fire in the stove today to take the chill out. That's nice. It sure beats. We said this morning, it sure beats crawling into a tent, soaking wet.
I heard
and damp.
somewhere that the Harveys have a camp that they still poop in an outhouse.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Peasants.
That's right. Peasants. Yeah, we don't know how good we have it over here.
Yeah, we got a toilet that's actually taller than your average toilet.
Yeah, because we have some people that are taller than your average people. Yep. So that's our camp and the history of it. It's been 40 years now. Yeah,
41
years. Yeah,
like you said 84. I mean, I
think 84.
I was gonna say 82, 83, but
somewhere in there.
Yeah,
it's
semantics.
Early 80s,
early
80s. Now
splitting hairs here.
It's not a huge place. We've got 27 acres now, I think, altogether. But it's our little home away from home and a spot to go, and any excuse we can get to get down here. I mean, it's whether it's hunting, fishing, or sitting on the porch.
I know I don't come down as much as I would like to. But like I said, tonight we got my wife and I have a wedding we have to go to in Corning in October. And it's like, let's go down to camp, spend the night. We can shower, bathroom, everything.
Yeah.
Get ready here. Go to the wedding. It's 30 minutes from here. And then after the wedding, we come back here. Spend the night, have a little fire, whatever. So, like...
Take her trout fishing.
Take her trout fishing.
How would she do sitting on the bank?
She'd probably do fine in all actuality, depending on the weather.
You're just saying that because she might listen, aren't you?
Yeah, she's definitely going to listen.
Yeah.
No, she would do fine sitting on the bank, depending. If the weather was nice, like, it'd be fine. If we start getting fish, she'd definitely be fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's going to listen to this. I'll say it anyways. I think if the weather's shit and there's no fish, she's going to be like, let's just go back to camp.
She's going to be like Ethan. Sounds just
First
like
off,
Ethan today.
No. The problem was the boots, guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boots. The boots.
Dude, I'll go jump off that bridge right now.
No, you won't. No, you
I
won't.
dared you. You didn't.
Yeah, I know, but I feel a little different right now. I tried.
Do ya?
I tried to get Matt Brown to dare me to jump off a bridge
And I
today
did.
into the
I
river,
did.
and he did dare me, but like I wasn't there
You
yet.
didn't do it.
Yeah, well now I just
You need a
feel
little
bad
more
about
bourbon.
myself.
Yeah. That was the problem.
Yeah.
A general lack of midday bourbon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's always the problem.
For the listeners at home, we've got one empty bottle of Basil Hayden on the coffee table. We've got one that's on its way to half.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and how's that
we're
bottle of
working through
Cooperstown?
And then the
look?
bottle of Cooperstown's almost
The Cooper,
gone.
yeah.
Well, it's a quarter.
Your Cooperstown
Yeah.
barely made it
I'm
through
about
last
to take some
night,
out of
so-
that Cooperstown.
Yep.
Yeah, help it out a little.
Barely made it through last night. Something had to fuel your midnight cooking spree.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you can't drink.
Yeah,
You can't eat trout without.
I wake up this morning at home for Connor's lacrosse game, and I got a photo in my phone of a trout on the grill. Oh, good, they cooked it. Okay. Didn't think anything of it till 10 a.m. when I hadn't heard from either of these guys, and I look at the timestamp. Yeah, 1:15 in the morning. Huh, they're not going to be up yet.
Nope.
Matt went to bed shortly after that photo.
I should have gone fishing this morning. I told you, I bet I'm going to be on the water before you're awake, and you said, no way. Guess what?
Yeah, well,
Could have done it.
last year you all woke me up at 8 a.m., so
And that was after we went turkey hunting.
yes.
Right.
This year
yeah.
nobody woke me up.
Well, yeah.
And there was something very enjoyable last night with Matt and I getting some time to hang out and shoot the shit and drink bourbon.
Yeah.
1:30, he's like, dude, I'm done. You got up at what, 4:20 yesterday
Yeah, about 4:20.
to go to work? So he went to bed and I took advantage. I sat on the porch and it was quiet and it was dark and I watched the woods and I listened to a little bit of music.
There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, and I
Honestly.
hung. It was probably 3 o'clock, and I was like, you know what? I could sit here all night.
Yeah.
But
It was-
like 3 o'clock
yeah.
was my line of like,
And it was
we're going to bed.
yeah, and it was cold enough. There's no bugs out. Like it's
But it was warm enough that you
perfect.
weren't cold.
yeah, right.
It was a perfect night to just sit outside.
Yeah.
No, you get those times like, and I get them at Canisius a lot when I'm out fishing in the morning, where like the sun's rising or whatever, and it's just you out there, and it's like you could sit there and just take it in for hours.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's really nothing like
That's
it.
what it's all about. You know, just that moment of like this is living.
Mhm.
Dude, I had a guy I work with that he doesn't work for my company, but I've been working with him a lot lately. He was on vacation last week, so I talked to him this week. I said, "How was your vacation?" Right? He says, it wasn't the way I expected. He said the first night of his vacation, he was riding his bicycle down like a little side street down the beach. He was down in North Carolina or something on an island, and wanted to go watch the sunset. And he said the last thing he remembers is that thought, right, of
Mhm.
like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Like this moment, he's like, I'm on a beach riding my bike towards this gorgeous sunset. Like nothing would make me happier than this. This
Yeah.
moment is what it's all about. The very next thing he remembers is waking up getting loaded into an ambulance. He must have had like a blackout or a cardiac event or something.
Sheesh, no
and
way.
just boom, lost it. They found somebody drove by, saw him just laying on the side of the road, the bike laying next to him, and called
Wow.
911. Man, that shit makes you think. You know,
Yeah.
So we should stop enjoying sunsets. They
No,
will,
that's
they
not.
Will,
That's
they will.
not
They
the
will
lesson
kill
there.
you.
No, that's not the the lesson. There is to enjoy more moments, be more thankful.
Yeah, unless
for those
one
little
kills
moments.
you. I
We're getting
mean,
mixed signals here.
No, I would argue that if those moments are so novel and so rare,
that they'll kill you.
You're probably too stressed out, and you need to take.
Yeah,
a step
we're all a
back.
little stressed out, dude.
Yeah.
You need to fish more.
You need to fish
yeah,
more.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's the key.
I mean, no matter what problem you have,
fishing
you need
more
to
is
fish
gonna
more.
fix it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And also, don't take your mud boots out of your fucking car.
Don't take your mud boots out of your car.
Yes.
Don't take the mud boots out.
Right, and if it's warm one day, you take your hoodie off, throw it in your passenger seat, leave it there.
You're the only guy I've ever heard talk about a collection of hoodies.
What
You said today you want to expand your hoodie collection.
Well, yeah, because I wear hoodies every single day of my life because we live in the armpit of the universe that is New York.
Yeah.
So guess what? Even in August, hoodie weather because everything sucks. So I buy black hoodies, 6 at a time for like $12 a piece. So I have 1 million black hoodies. Not wearing one right now. I'm wearing one of my home hoodies, one of my Sabres hoodies.
Go Sabres.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
But yeah, like I'd like to have more hoodies that aren't just straight black because that's what I wear to work.
Could you get like a pink or a purple for $6 a piece?
I probably could, but I won't.
You should.
I'm not wearing pink or
really
purple
should.
to work.
Why not?
I wear black to work, dude. It's oil and grease. Most of my hoodies now, like the little pocket, the hand pocket, the top seams are all fucked up, so it's just a flap.
Man, you're rough. It's hard being you, man.
It's hard.
Dude, don't even get me started.
It's tough being you. Jeez,
We've drank just enough that I could tell you all about how hard it is.
That's a
being me.
different podcast. That's a psychology podcast.
I'm a middle child.
Yeah, you are a middle
me
child.
too.
Yeah.
2 middle children here.
Yeah, and you have the baby sister too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Baby sister, older
Tough,
brother.
tough.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah, it's
Tough.
how you
Look,
know your
no-
parents hate
no
you.
wonder you guys are so close.
Yeah.
Which that was the first time that it occurred to me that we're both middle children with an older brother, little sister.
Just now.
Yeah. I mean, I've known that to be fact, but like I've never
Right.
connected the
Yep,
dots.
yep.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Anyways, I got to get a Sutton Spoons hoodie.
That's what you said today.
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
got
go
some
back and
nice-
Sutton Spoons
Got
hoodie.
some nice stuff in there.
They
Yeah.
do have a lot of nice stuff in there.
Got the CP swing.
Yep. Yeah, I'd never heard of that before.
Dude,
I
it's
really
the,
hadn't.
It's the craziest thing. Like I remember, so my brother used to play hockey at one of the rinks in Rochester, and on the way to the rink was my uncle's house,
Yep.
and we used to stop in and just chat with him, and he would tell me all about his fishing stories.
Yep.
And then this one time he brings out a lure. He goes, "Here, this thing has caught more fish than you've ever seen in your entire life, and it's a CP swing."
Yep.
And I go, okay.
Which is a spinner, a brass spinner.
It's a brass spinner. And, I looked for them, and I couldn't really find them. And then we walked into Sutton Spoons today, and
There
I
they're
saw,
hanging.
there they're hanging. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. We got that whole backstory. She was telling us what they quit making them, and somebody else
Yeah.
came and said
And
they're going to
bought
make them.
moved them to
Moved them to
Florida.
Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we got a couple of those. I didn't get to fish with mine today. You almost lost yours.
I almost lost it a couple
Yep.
times, but caught a couple. I caught a couple on it. Caught a decent one on it.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Should have kept that fish today.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, and I said this to Matt earlier, and if I knew Donnie was going to take 2 of the keeper fish that we had yesterday and not only cut their heads off, but
heads.
freeze them.
the heads.
Yeah, keep the heads, dude. That's where the cheeks are.
Yeah.
I want.
Was it that good? I mean, the cheek was
I've never
It
had a
was a
cheek.
good bite.
There's 2
Yeah.
cheeks on a fish.
Yeah, well, after like when we pulled the skeleton out and flipped
Yeah.
the head, like everything's more or less just scattered to the wind.
Yeah.
So I let him have the cheek to his first
Yeah.
fish he's
Yeah.
ever kept. And I was looking forward to a cheek tonight.
Oh,
and,
man.
and you're afraid of fish heads, which I
Not afraid of fish heads.
okay. Well, you cut them all off the entire time. Well, yeah, I'm not afraid of them. I just won't have one in my house. Yeah, well, I forgot where I was going with
That
this.
you were going to keep the fish tonight.
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
if you
would have
go
told.
back
I
and
would have.
Yes, yes.
I would have told
Yeah.
Matt to keep his fish today because it
Wow.
was a better fish than yesterday's fish.
It was bigger than the one I
Was
kept
it really?
yesterday. Yes.
Wow.
It also hit his spoon like 3
10
feet
feet.
from your feet.
Yeah.
10 feet.
Yeah, probably about 10 feet from me.
I just heard the sound and looked up and I'm like, oh my god, that fish just hit and it's right there.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
On the CP swing?
On the CP swing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have a CP swing fish now.
Yeah.
I do.
You have a few, yeah.
I got a couple of them.
Yep. That's cool. Was it?
Yeah.
Would it have been the lunker for the weekend, you think?
No, you're still
No,
at
that
it.
other
yeah.
one's still bigger?
It was maybe the same size as The one Ethan caught yesterday.
Oh, that little fish, yeah.
No, a little bit bigger than Matt's
Yeah,
fish
like-
yesterday.
Yeah.
We were saying next year we got to get a pool going, right? We got to figure out a good way to like, either it's length or
It's going to have to be
weight or
length
something,
because
but-
nobody's going to show up with scales.
Yeah.
It's going to
Gotta
be
weigh
length.
it.
And then you take a picture and then we can fight over, did you
Whose
measure it?
fish is bigger?
Yeah. Did you measure from the fork of the tail or the end of the tail? Did you squeeze the tail? Did you step on it?
Well, the hope would be that somebody's just obviously got the big fish.
Well, that's the
That's
hope.
the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, once
like
money's
sales
on-
fish last year, that was a no-brainer.
Yes.
that was a great
Absolutely.
fish. It was a beautiful fish.
It
Like,
was.
20-inch brown trout. I mean,
It was-
that was just
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
it popped up in my memories today, and even the color on it.
Yeah. It was
Like
a
I've
good,
Yeah.
never seen a brown trout more beautiful,
yeah.
and it was gigantic. I
That
mean,
was a good fish.
as far as Cohocton River trout
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah, the only family member we ever had that used to tell fishing stories was Mr. G. He used to come to our house,
Mm-hmm.
bring us rubber worms. Was an old friend of my dad's. Really, the guy
Yeah.
kind of taught my dad to fish growing up.
He was like a 5-foot tall Italian man
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
with
Girello.
a twin brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he would come out and visit, and he'd bring rubber worms for us, and he'd always say, watch this, boys. And he'd throw it up at the ceiling, and they'd stick. And it always fascinated me because, man, anything we threw at the ceiling would piss my dad right off. But man, Mr. G got away with murder. He'd throw
Yeah,
these
right.
red and purple worms. They'd stick to the ceiling, and yeah, he'd have been proud of those trout today.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
little
then,
trout stories.
well, and to go back to our trout stories, like Dad always talked about the days of just bumping worms down
Yep.
the stream on
Yep.
on little Cinco, or not Cincos, what sort of split shots.
Little split shots. Yep.
And
Floating
like
them down a
I
river.
want to do that,
Yep.
but we've been having too good of luck doing anything else.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we
It's hard
Good
to change
problem
up.
to have.
It is
You
hard
know,
to change up.
It's hard to
I mean-
change up when you're having good luck.
Last year, I didn't change my spoon one time. I tied on that little silver Phoebe,
Right.
and I just slayed all weekend.
It's
Yep.
the same one that was on when you showed up this year.
It was the same one that was on when I showed up
Yep.
this year.
Everything was the same except the mud boots.
Yeah, which are apparently somewhere.
Gone.
They're not gone. I still own them, I'm sure.
You know, last year you probably could have gotten away without mud boots.
Yeah, last year.
No, last year I absolutely would have gotten away without my. I don't even think I put them on last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year I also
Warm and
didn't put them
dry.
on, but I wanted to.
This year it was all mud.
Oh, mud.
Yeah, mud and water.
A lot of standing water.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of standing water. And high water. Just above the banks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where'd we stop? The first stop we had today, and I turned to you
Yeah.
guys, and I'm like, I got my Crocs on, and to get close to the river, I'm gonna be knee deep in water.
I got my
So-
Crocs
Yeah, yeah.
on, and I am not equipped for this
Nope.
event.
Nope. Still got my Crocs on, actually.
Those are good camp shoes.
Great camp shoes.
Yeah.
Good camp shoes. No, that first spot I liked. I stumbled on that last year when it was after I left. I was headed home, and I thought, I'm going to try this one last spot. It's over towards Naples. I think, yeah, towards Naples. It was a good spot. I caught a couple brook trout in there, and they're fun.
Oh,
Just
yeah?
a different fish, a little smaller, a little prettier, but
Mm-hmm.
it was cool to catch those. Last year I fly fished. This year has been all spin casting.
Yeah, you didn't fly fish at all.
Nope.
You brought it.
Yeah, it's with me. I just,
Didn't want to put one in your chin or what?
I don't worry about my chin.
Yeah, I worry about my chin.
No, the water's too fast. You got to use the right gear for.
It was too fast. It was almost too fast for spin casting.
Yeah.
I mean, especially what we ended up with this afternoon.
Yeah, it was hauling.
We watching the water come up and just it was way too fast to think you were doing anything out there.
Yeah,
But
you
we
had
were
to,
out there.
yeah, we were out there, and you had to find a real slow pocket of water to.
Yep. Yeah, the big wide bends or deep pools. And
At
hope
some
there's
point,
fish in
Matt
there.
saw a fish surface
Allegedly.
under
Allegedly
the
fish.
bridge
Oh
on
my
the
God.
inside of the bridge where there was a little natural dam forming, and
There was definitely a fish there.
it was probably a stick. I'm guessing it was a stick.
Definitely a fish, but probably a stick.
Yeah,
It was definitely a fish.
Definitely.
that looked a lot like a stick.
It was one of those stick fish.
Oh yeah, no, I've stick.
It could have been a
stick
stickfish.
Yep, definitely a stick fish.
Not a fish stick.
Not a
we
fish
would have picked that out.
I don't know. I would not eat a fish stick out of that river.
No, I don't think I'd eat anything out of that river if it wasn't alive when I took it out.
Oh,
I could catch a cheeseburger, and I'm not eating it.
Yeah. You might have seen a cheeseburger go floating by today. Definitely a couple.
Saw a lot of
days
shit
back.
go
You
flying
saw
by
just
today.
about everything.
Yeah, it was raging. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm not thinking I'm gonna fish a whole lot, but
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to rain all through the night, I think.
oh yeah, next couple days. But
I told Matt earlier I'm going to take advantage of the laundry service we have here.
laundry service.
And I'm going to wake up and put my sweatpants on.
There you go.
And I'm going to go home with everything I came with clean.
There you go. That's a
Nice.
smart play.
That
That's
is.
smart. I may throw it. My jeans from moving that tree stand today are pretty filthy. So
Yeah,
I
which
may
you
throw
didn't.
it in there.
You mentioned thinking about doing it, and then you disappeared.
disappeared?
You could have been like, "Hey guys, you want to come help me?"
Oh, you wouldn't have come help.
No, I would not have. But it'd be nice to be
Oh,
asked.
you would have been nice to be invited. Yeah. Hey guys,
I'd have come watched.
I'm gonna go walk through the pouring rain and take down a tree stand. You want to come watch? No thanks. I'll just do it.
Maybe I would have fired up the quad.
No, you wouldn't. I'd had it back before then.
Well, yeah, before I noticed you were gone.
Yeah.
I probably would have come help.
Yeah.
But we did
next
sit
time.
here and we're like, "Where'd Don go?"
We do have that one blind I want to move, but I don't know that the three of us are gonna move that. That's
we
a pain in the
could
butt.
get the quad out. We
Yeah.
can.
Gotta get it up to the trail. Gotta move it.
We also got to figure out where it's gonna go.
Yeah, I think we've got a good spot picked.
Yeah, you've got an idea.
Yeah. So that's another problem for another day.
Before November, man.
Yeah, move it before November. We'll get a day, get it done. Come down to fish.
Matt's invited to come back in November, but it turns out he has a wedding every weekend until he
Oh my
dies.
gosh, pretty
So
much.
He's at that age.
At that age.
I can barely
Yeah.
remember when I was
8
at that
weddings.
age.
I was
this
at
year.
that age. You know what I did? I decided to just not go
That's a
to
lie.
these
Did you?
weddings.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
You skipped weddings.
Oh, I still skip weddings.
No, you do now because you're old, but you didn't skip.
No, I
weddings
skipped
then.
weddings then.
I
Because
don't
back
know.
then, weddings cost me money, man.
Yeah, you are a cheapskate.
They're a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, and everybody wants me in their fucking wedding.
Question is
I don't
there
want
an
to pay
open
for
bar?
I don't want to pay for your bachelor party and my suit, and I say all this in front of Matt, and I'm in his wedding.
Yep, he's a
And-
groomsman.
Oh,
Nah, but he asked me permission to ask me to be a groomsman, so
Well,
I
because
granted it.
Yeah,
Because I've told you.
you've told me that
it's
you.
a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of
It's a
work.
lot
But
of
he was
work.
like, I do not like being in weddings
Do not.
as a groomsman. And so as I'm going through my list of people to ask, which isn't very long, like, man, I would love to ask Ethan, but I know he doesn't want to be in weddings.
Don't want to piss them off.
I don't want to piss him off.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think it got brought up one night. You were just like, have
It was
you thought
me,
about
and Marissa
groomsmen?
at my
Yeah.
house. Jenna was out of town or doing something.
Yeah.
Just the three of us.
But you brought it up. You're like, do you know about groomsmen? And I was like, well, for the most part.
Funny you should ask.
Funny you should ask. But
Now, one empty
no,
seat.
he kindly accepted, and
Well, I mean, you asked with a bottle full of whiskey, so
yeah,
True.
so
yeah, hard to
had
say no to
booze him-
Elijah
had
Craig.
to booze him up a little bit, but
So next year Matt will be married. That'll be a whole new trip for him.
yeah,
No, so Matt won't be here next year.
Maybe not.
No, he will be.
Hopefully Sal will be back.
hopefully Sal.
Sal said he won't miss it again.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully Reggie and Cam
That'd be nice, yeah, for their sake. Yeah, Reagan's bummed he's
and
missing
Ryan.
this
We
year.
had a friend who was supposed to be
Yes.
here this weekend with us, coworker of Matt's, former coworker of mine, and he had some health issues, not with himself, but with some family members
Yeah,
that
kept
he
him away.
needed to stay home with his family, which 100% acceptable. Wish everybody well. Hope he gets back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes like we talk about this with deer camp even. It becomes like the mile marker. You know, you see these guys, you kind of keep in touch and stuff, but the core group, you get together that once a year, and it's sort of you're like, okay, what's going on? You
Mhm.
know, okay, you're getting married, you're having kids, you know,
Yeah.
you're having your third
Yeah.
kid, whatever. You know, those
Yep.
those life milestones
Or
sort of come and go.
biannual check-in.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Even though you do keep in touch in between, it's sort of like that one weekend a year where you come back to home
Yeah.
base and catch up. So
No, and I'll go so far as to say even like last night when you left, and
Yeah.
it was just Matt and I, which was not the plan.
yeah, when do you get that
Right.
time?
But
When else do you get that
and
time?
that was the
That's
conversation we had
exactly
last
it,
night.
yeah.
Like Matt and I, very close friends, And last night we're like, when's the last time you and I got to hang out, have drinks, with no obligation of like, oh, I have to go home.
Obligation. Is that different than an obligation?
An obligation.
It's like a more relaxed obligation.
It's an implication.
Yep. I follow you. I'm picking up what you're
like. When's the last time we got to hang out and just like no holds barred, have drinks, shoot the shit, and it's not like, oh, I have to go home, you have to go home, and just the two of us.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, we have one of the wives usually.
Right. Yeah.
Or other people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a group or whatever, but yeah.
So like we don't get as adult male friends, you don't get that one-on-one time, and we got it last night, and that was great.
Yeah. No, it was awesome.
We ate a 1:00 fish.
We ate a 1:00 fish.
God, yeah.
What's
There's only a handful of people in the world that have grilled a fish at 1 a.m. Let's be fair.
There's a handful.
Yeah. No, I think of the same thing with like the Pennsylvania fishing trips. You know, I used to do with that group of guys. Like just that like availability. You're just hanging out. It's that same group, kind of the same repetition. You're there.
Yeah.
You're there to fish, but you're really there to catch up. You know,
for sure.
That group of guys.
Well, just sit and we talked a lot about life and a lot about music and a lot about bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like just uninhibited.
Yep.
Nobody's going anywhere.
Yep. And I was thinking about that even today with like getting ready to do the podcast and different things. Like that, it's probably the biggest difference between hunting and fishing is like hunting is mostly solo. Even if you're in a group, you're doing it alone.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
and you come back to camp at the end of the night and you talk about it, you know, as a group, whatever. Like fishing, you really just talk all day.
Yeah, we've been shooting the shit all day.
All day.
Well, that's
you know.
you mentioned earlier about how it's a little bit different than deer camp, and I'm like, fishing. We're out. We brought the cooler.
Yep.
Yeah.
You catch a buzz. You're still a good fisherman.
Yep.
If you're hunting and you catch a buzz,
it's a different day.
Get out of the woods and lock up the gun. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very different day at that point. No, that's what's been cool about doing the spring trip is it's a little more laid back, a little more.
Yeah.
I do want to add more
going.
variety in future years, but we've just been having too much.
I think a charter trip would be fun.
Charter trip.
Hook up with somebody on Cuco Lake, go out and like troll for lake trout or something.
That'd be
kind
fun.
of.
Aren't they all fucking emaciated now?
I've seen both. You know, I've seen some of the charter captains talk about how they're like too thin because there's not enough bait in the lake. But like the early season, they're catching some beautiful fish.
It also
off of
bounce.
Cuco.
I mean, we talked a little bit earlier, Matt and I, about the rudd in Canisius,
Yeah.
and it'll bounce because
It'll
the
rebound.
rudd will become so overpopulated that they'll eat themselves to death, which will bring back your native species. And it'll probably run back and forth, but if that is the issue in Cuca, whatever the issue in Cuca is or is not, it should bounce. The lake trout will die out.
Do you remember when the gobies first hit the Thousand Islands?
I very much do. We stomped a couple.
Yeah, and they were an invasive species. Still are. I mean, they're still an invasive species in the Thousand Islands. But the DEC direction back then was if you catch a roundhead goby, I think they're called, to kill it, to not release it alive. And so people were, you know, you'd stomp them, you'd throw them on the boat, you'd take them home and throw them away, whatever. But then as years went on, people started realizing that your like smallmouth bass, especially, were just devouring these small gobies.
Really?
So now you can go and buy like plastic baits made to mimic a goby.
Yeah.
And they've become a huge bait fish for, you know, the bass tournaments and bass fishing in the Thousand Islands on the St. Lawrence River. So it swung. You know, that pendulum was like, oh, this is a horrible invasive species. It's going to, you know, completely decimate our native populations. And now it's a popular bait fish. So, you know, maybe and hopefully that'll happen.
Well,
but I think that'd be fun.
I
Get
hope
out
so
on
too
Cuca.
because and I know you're talking about Cuca, but to go back to Canisius, where I'm a little more familiar, fishing Canisius has been tough sledding.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's gotten worse since the rudd have shown up.
Yep.
So you can only
Perch are gone.
Perch are gone. Bluegill are gone.
Yep.
You got a great crappie a few years ago.
One.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
But it was one.
Great fish, but it was just one.
But like everything else, and Matt, whose family owns property at the north end there.
Yeah.
How's fishing been around your docks the past 5
it's
years?
It's been tough. It's just been so different. Like I remember as a kid going out on the dock and everywhere you look, you see bluegill, you see some bass. Like they were just everywhere, and now you don't see anything.
Right. This past summer we went out. We tried to fish with hot dogs.
You did try that, yeah.
Do not recommend.
People say you catch pike on hot dogs.
I don't know how
I've
people
heard.
keep them on the freaking line because we couldn't even keep them hooked.
The ones I've seen, they use like 2 treble hooks, and they put like one in each end of the hot dog.
Well,
Yeah, so a treble hook probably would have been smart.
yeah. Instead, we just casted hot dogs into the depths.
Jeez. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Um.
And they're usually just on a tip up. They drop it straight down, so there's no
Oh
casting.
no,
no
we
throwing
can't.
it.
We were trying to.
Yeah.
We were trying to catch pike on raw hot dogs this
couple
summer.
of idiots out there.
I think we are more there to drink and smoke cigars than we
Sure
were to
sounds
fish.
like it. Sure sounds like it.
1,000% we were. Yeah,
And maybe we grilled some hot dogs. I don't know.
we did.
What was left?
We did grill some bait. Yes.
Oh.
But no, hopefully, and that's what I'm hoping with the rud is
Yep.
they start to go away because they're overpopulated. Brings back the natural population. It'll be a new configuration of the lake for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's got.
There's no way you're going to eradicate them.
No, it's got to just adjust. But I think we could explore some other stuff. Maybe next year, whether we get out on Cuca. I gotta find some spots to fish the lake. Public access or something that we can get out and do some panfish or something.
Oh, for sure.
It's there. It's
Little
just-
red worms.
It's hard to, they say don't leave fish to find fish, right? That's the hard part.
And that's
When
what
you're
we've
catching
ran.
fish.
We
why
want
would
to
you
go
leave?
to the lake,
Yeah.
and we've just been slaying the river. So why would we not?
Yeah.
Why would we not stay on the river? Especially because the trout on the grill have been coming out real good.
It
Yeah.
tastes pretty good.
Yeah, there's no
Even that
complaints
dip
there.
tonight. Maybe a little salt is needed, but
A
like
little bit, yeah. But it's good.
it's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, that was good. Little toast square there, a little baguette, a little crostini.
That's
No.
yeah. Christini is the
Crostini.
correct nomenclature.
Yeah, we had a big argument about olive oil today.
Yeah, guys, olive
Don't get
oil's
Ethan
supposed to be
started.
green.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Get them fired up.
Your yellow olive oil is cheap shit.
Yeah, apparently there's good olive oil.
Yeah,
There's
no,
other
and,
stuff.
Yeah, and there's an Italian name on the freaking bottle.
You add a little bit of green dye to your olive oil, and Ethan
Yeah.
will.
No.
He's all over it.
Get
Oh,
outta-
gotta
get
the
outta
salt
all
over
over
here.
it.
it. Gotta get the green stuff.
It's got to be green. That's your extra
Green bottle, right? You're talking. It's got
No,
green
no,
bottle,
no,
yeah.
green oil.
Oh, green oil. Okay. All
These
right.
fucking guys. I will say, shout out to Mr. Jim Harvey for dinner tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had some of his leftover sausage.
Andouille sausage
good.
and
Yeah.
some Jim Harvey's spicy Cajun Bigfoot dong sausage.
Dong.
They were good. Yeah.
They were very
No, I
good.
did. I did swallow the dong tonight.
Yeah.
We
What
all
did he
did.
dropped those off opening weekend of deer season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I took them home because I was going to cook them, and then
They made their way back to fish.
never
camp.
ended up doing it, and they were in the freezer. And I'm like, I went and bought a ton of Italian sausage, and then was like, oh my god, I have a bunch of good venison sausage in the freezer, so I brought it back to camp.
That works. Yeah,
Big,
that was
Big
good.
Billy was going to be here tonight.
He was going to.
He's
yeah.
not a is he a Harvey?
Yeah, he's Jim's dad.
Okay,
Jim and Bill's
perfect.
dad. Yeah.
I lose track of who belongs to who in the Pertnear
Yeah,
world.
that's where I got the podcast gear from. He dropped it off the other day, and like I said at the beginning, he was doing some stuff, getting ready for logging and moving some tree stands around today. So he was gonna pop up, but another day. It's
I
another
know.
good reason to come to camp.
Well, yeah,
you know.
and another shout out to
Yeah.
freaking Dallas Kirsch.
He was supposed to be here.
He was I invited him.
I'll call him out. He's supposed to be here.
Yeah, he was interested.
Yeah.
He just wanted to hang out and drink because he's not a fisherman,
Yeah.
but
It's all right.
he's better at me than at fantasy baseball
Yeah.
than I am. So
That's the beauty of fishing. You don't really have to be a fisherman
You really don't.
to
No.
go fishing.
you just need
No.
a license.
yeah, you get
Right,
a license and a fishing pole,
Yep.
and
You
you,
don't
get
even
that
need
for
a
$20.
fishing pole. You could borrow one.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God, I got more gear hanging in my basement. You know, a lifetime of fishing for everything. I look at.
Oh, yeah.
I built a rod holder on. It goes on the ceiling of my basement, and I've probably got 12, 15 rods.
you really?
hanging. Yeah, and
Wow.
that's not any. All my fly gear is separate, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't have any saltwater stuff anymore, but Bass setups. I got heavyweight spin gear, lightweight spin gear,
Loser.
trolling rods, deep
Only
water
losers
rods.
fish for bass.
Okay.
Unless you're chasing smallmouth in a creek, I don't want to hear about it.
Okay.
You're just a glory man.
Just a glory, man. Bass fishing's
Sounds
good
like-
fish. It's all good
yeah.
fishing.
Even just can't catch bass.
That's
all.
what I'm
First
hearing.
off,
That's what I'm
We
hearing.
talked about this, and you're right.
Yep. Can't catch a bass. Yep.
Donnie caught all the bass that
Hey.
I didn't.
Somebody's got to come clean them up if they're there to be caught.
Cleaning them.
I
Is
just
that like
always-
feeding them and breeding
feeding
them, cleaning
yeah,
them?
cleaning them up.
Best way to catch fish is just follow Ethan around.
That's right.
No,
That's right.
that's actually well. First off, I want to say that's not true because last year when Sal was here,
That's true.
I would watch Sal cast to the same spot for 20 minutes and say
Yep.
"fuck this" and walk away, and I would cast once in the same hole and be like, "Dude, I'm on."
Yep.
Hooked up.
Yep.
First or second cast every time. I loved following Sal last year. He got the lunker, but I got more fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of fish. A lot of fish to catch out there.
Yep.
Just got to be out there to do it. And
Yeah.
not have
the
raging rivers.
Yeah, the
going.
river needs to chill the
Yeah.
fuck
yeah,
out.
honestly.
I wonder how long it'll take to come down. It'll be a little while.
Well, it's got to
But
stop raining first.
It's got to
Yeah,
stop
it's
raining
supposed
first.
to rain for the next
Yeah.
couple days.
Yep. Then it'll come down. The fish will be back.
Yep.
We'll get back after it. You gonna come down and try to get some summertime fishing in?
I might. We'll see what the weeds
Put
do.
a couple in the freezer. Get your.
I would
cheek.
love to. I want to
Gotta
do
get
on the.
that cheek.
I want to do it on.
cheek.
I want the cheek, and I want to do it on the smoker so bad.
It would be good to smoke.
I got to smoke a trout.
Yeah.
Would be good to smoke.
Put one on the
Sure.
acorn,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Jenna would love it
Good.
because
Yep.
she loves the smoked salmon, so she'll love a smoked trout.
Yeah.
So
It's better than salmon. I think the trout, and they're stocked fish. I mean, they're not the same as a wild fish, but they taste great.
Yeah, I like
Good
them a lot
fish.
better than salmon.
They don't have that like oily.
Well, they're a little
taste.
whiter, yeah.
a little
Yeah.
whiter meat, flaky.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, like we said, the best way to cook them: wrap them in foil. Forget about them.
Yeah.
Put them on the
Well,
grill.
you know-
we
and
did
that-
twice last night.
and that's my rule for cooking the fish on. You do the charcoal grill. You get your coals red hot. You wrap the trout. You stuff it with whatever you want to stuff it with. You season it, all that. You wrap it up in foil. You put it on the grill until you say, "Oh, shit, the fish."
Yep.
And then you run to the grill and you flip it over, and you wait until you say, "Oh shit, the fish."
Pour
and then,
another glass.
and
you
then
know,
yeah,
kill
and
a
then,
little time.
yeah, and then you pull it off. You unwrap it,
Yep.
peel the skin back, but the skin is delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I don't know that I've ever eaten the skin.
we
You
ate
said
the
you did
skin
last
off the
night.
one
We
last
did
night,
last
yeah.
night. But we also had it seasoned up pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So
But no, the skin's great and it flakes right off the bone and
Yeah, I'll have to try it. And the cheek.
the yeah, I need
That's the hot tip.
Yeah, I need a
was
cheek.
good.
I
Tip.
need
Get
a
a
cheek.
good. Oh my
And
gosh, you guys have never eaten
you
a
took
cheek.
four. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well,
first
Come
fish I've
on,
ever
guys.
kept.
Don took
Bush league.
Don took 4 cheeks from me this weekend.
That's true.
So
Dude,
I owe you
that's
some
what
cheeks.
he's doing.
I owe you
He's
some
taking
cheeks.
the heads
Yeah.
so that he can eat
then
all the
he's,
cheeks.
he's eating just cheeks.
I'm a bougie fucking fisherman. Yep.
I'm so hungry. I want these 2 bites.
I'm gonna eat 4 cheeks.
But to go back, I just do not recommend the eyeball. It tastes like trout, but
Just to clarify.
but it's so
Yeah.
weird in your mouth. You're not gonna like it. You probably
ain't
had
worth it.
weird. All these listeners have probably had weirder things in their mouth, but this
But
one
not a
they,
trout
this one they
eyeball?
will enjoy less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah, I don't know that it would cross my mind to try a trout eyeball.
Crossed my mind.
Oh,
Not for
Scoop-
me at all.
Scooped
Yeah.
it right out with the fork.
Yeah, you did.
Oh. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's bait.
Yep. Gross.
I'm somewhat convinced that anyone that says an eyeball from any animal is good is just trying to sucker other people into
It's
eating an
gotta be
eyeball.
it. It's gotta be it.
Well, what I need to know now, and I'm gonna find this out the hard way, I'm sure. Do all eyeballs have that hard core?
These are questions you don't want to ask yourself.
No, but next year when I fucking shoot a deer, I'm gonna be like, let's just eat this
Let's
fucking
just find
eyeball
out.
and see what happens.
You were talking about
Right.
Steve Ranella all day.
All day.
What would he do? He'd probably roast the whole head.
Pull the dough out from behind the eye.
Yeah, yeah, like a caribou. Yeah.
Don't tempt me with roasting a whole deer head here. I'll dig a hole. I'll dig a hole right now.
Stick with our deer heart tacos.
Deer heart tacos are good. And I'm going to have liverwurst next year.
Yep, we're going to do that.
Well, this year. I mean, 6 months from now.
Yeah, it'll be this fall. Yep. All right. Well, I think we're about wrapping it up.
we're a little
We'll
over an
end it
hour.
on the eyeball discussion.
Yeah, let's end it on an eyeball.
Best way to end it.
Yeah. Well, we'll close it out, and hopefully we'll be back on in the not too distant future. All right?
All right. Yeah, no, have a good night, everybody. I know I am.